Throughout all the stages of my media project, I have used the website WordPress to accurately document every development I made. Its simple format allowed me to effectively display all of the appropriate information for each blog post, which can all be accessed whenever necessary. This was particularly useful in the evaluation stage when I was required to analyse the whole process of the coursework, as my blog includes the entirety of my portfolio, from research to post-production. Additionally, I use the website YouTube as a resource for my research, and also as a method to upload my own media, which I could then embed in my blog posts. YouTube was the website that I first viewed the interesting video titled "Why Are Things Creepy?", which heavily influenced the creation of my idea for the creepy element of my short film, and the music video for Bring Me Horizon's song Shadow Moses, which inspired me to use the 3D camera effect in my own production. Moreover, I use YouTube to view pre-existing short films before analysing them in detail on my blog. In the planning stage of my project, I used a basic flip camera to photograph my initial storyboards, as it was simple to use and produced a good enough quality that I could then use for my animatic. The device was also well designed so that I could simply plug it directly into my desktop to begin editing my animatic for my short film. In order to produce the most professional script I could possibly make, I used ScriptBuddy so that I would have the appropriate format for my script. This made it a lot easier for my actors to fully understand what the story was about and what their characters are like. I then used Scribd.com to embed my script on my blog. I used a Canon 60D SLR camera with an 18-135mm zoom lens to record test filming during the research stage, as well as the multiple focus groups and the actual short film. The camera's rotating screen has allowed me to film at a variety of angles no matter the difficulty, as I can rotate the screen to the appropriate angle relative to the shot I wish to complete, while the zoom lens has allowed me to record an abundance of different shot types. Also, I used a SanDisk 16GB SD card, as it gave me enough storage to not be concerned with filming more than the card can hold. It allowed me the flexibility to experiment with different shots on the filming day, as I didn't feel constrained by a small sized SD card. Some of these experimented shots even made it to the final film. In addition to this, I used a variety of camera mounts during the filming process: a tripod, a camera dolly, and a handheld camera mount. The reason for this was so I could obtain the best possible outcomes for each shot. The handheld camera mount, for instance, made the early shots in the corridor a lot smoother, while the dolly created a very smooth camera movement during the interrogation scene. The interrogation scene itself also included the spotlight to create the appropriate orangey-yellow atmosphere for the scene. While filming, I also used a Rode VideoMic Go in order to capture a clearer quality of dialogue that my camera's inbuilt microphone could not achieve on its own. This made it far easier to comprehend the dialogue in the final product. A software I used during the filming process was the iSuper app that I downloaded onto my iPhone. It was very effective, as it created the appropriate vintage photograph filter that I desired without having to develop it during post-production. For the editing process, I used Final Cut Pro 10, which provided the necessary tools to create the effects that I desired. For example, it was relatively easy to recreate the 3D camera effect for my short film on this editing software, which was useful as it created the uncomfortable image I wanted it to in the final product. Final Cut also allowed me to layer and cut individual shots accurately in order to create a well-flowing media production, while also giving me the opportunity to order shots in a specific way to produce the non-linear anachronic narrative that I desired for this film. Final Cut Pro 10 also had the capability to edit my score. I imported the recordings of the instruments and edited them in direct relation to the film. I could alter the volume and duration and also layer the sounds to create the desired atmosphere for each shot. There was one specific moment in my film where the music was layered the most in order to create a specific effect: the murder scene, which featured many layers of sharp sounds from a violin, similar to that of the cult classic film Psycho. In terms of my ancillary tasks, I used the editing software Photoshop CS5 and the website DaFont to produce the film poster and film review. I used DaFont to obtain the necessary fonts and downloaded them for application to my Photoshop documents, in which I designed and finalized my ancillary tasks. Photoshop features an abundance of tools and editing effects which allowed me to fully replicate the format of an Empire magazine review. Its layering capabilities enabled me to create a vast amount of layers to complete the complex kaleidoscope pattern for my short film. Overall, Photoshop has the tools and effects which I utilise in order to produce my very professional media products that correlate with a short film. Finally, for the evaluation process, the last part of my project, I used my Canon 60D to record the audio for all my answers to the questions. I then used Final Cut Pro 10 to edit and finalise each response using both images and video in each film. I then used Final Cut Pro to edit and finalise each response using both images and video in each film.